Welcome to the Young Researcher Academy YouTube channel. Join a vibrant network of young scholars, united by a passion for discovery and a drive to make a meaningful impact. Stay updated, collaborate, and grow with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
We are going to be looking at how to conduct and write a systematic literature review. And I believe that there are some things that I may not be emphasizing so much on again this evening, in which you are going to be using, okay? Because in previous seminars, we've looked at that, like the use of reference management tool like Zotero and Menly. You can watch a previous video to on that so that you would know how to go about it. Then how you can interact with AI to get research idea is also part of what we've done, ethical writing in research. So although we are going to, I may be saying some things about that, but not really, the focus of today is not on that aspect. So our focus today is how to write a systematic literature review. Now, we have different types of literature review, right? We have narrative review, we have a scoping review, we have systematic literature review, we have meta-analysis, which is also part of it, and so on and so forth. So, but the major one that is, the one that is so much common in the research is systematic review and narrative review. Yes, systematic and narrative. And this systematic review looks more or less like, like if you are carrying out an empirical study. In empirical study, you always have your introduction, your materials and method, or okay, your empirical study will always follow the IMRAD structure, because I've taught us IMRAD structure. IMRAD means is a short form of introduction, methodology, results, abstract, and discussion. That's the full meaning of IMRAD. So it's a pattern that you use in writing empirical article, okay? So that's the same pattern you use whenever you're writing systematic literature review. So in most cases, some journals even classify this systematic literature review as an empirical article, because when you are doing a systematic literature review, okay, it's just a review of past study, okay? Like previous studies, you are getting data from previous studies, what previous studies have done, you are trying to compare and contrast it, or based on a particular topic or research question, or based on a particular objective. That is what it's all about. So this evening, the overview of the lesson of this seminar is that we're going to be looking at what a systematic literature review is, in which I've introduced some part of it. We're going to be comparing the SLR versus the narrative review. We're going to be looking at research protocol and registration, which is a very important aspect of systematic literature review, because you need to register your protocol before you can get started with writing your systematic review. Then we're going to be looking at the Prisma framework and the PICO framework, okay? So we'll look at how you can source and select studies, how you can synthesize your findings, and the common mistake you need to avoid whenever you're carrying out your systematic literature review. So a systematic literature review is a rigorous, transparent, and replicable method of identifying, evaluating, and synthesizing all available research evidence on a specific research question using explicit pre-specified criteria. Now, when you look at this definition, let me break all these things down, okay? Now, a systematic literature review, the short form is SLR, okay, is a rigorous, you see the word rigorous there, transparent and replicable method. So in research, there's something we call replicability. If you carry out a study and you send your paper for review, one of the things that the reviewers look out for is that they look out for they read through your paper and see if your paper, if it is possible for that paper to be replicated by another researcher without having any issue, without even getting in touch with you. What do we mean by replicability? Just like maybe you carry out a particular study, you use a particular population, you use a particular instrument, everything that you've used, another person wants to carry out that same study, maybe in another location with the same set of, method, the same pattern you followed, the same, the same method, the same design, research design, every other thing. So that is what replicability means in research. So that's the same thing that happens with a systematic literature review. So it is a rigorous, transparent, and replicable method of, so it's a replicable method because other researchers can also repeat, like replicate the study that you've carried out. So when they are doing that so that they can confirm if they are going to have the same result as the one that you've done before. So that's replicability. Then, and what's the function of this systematic literature review? It is used to identify, evaluate, and synthesize available research evidence. Take note of the word available research evidence. When we say available research evidence, we are talking about existing studies, studies that has been peer reviewed, evidence that has been proven by scientists, for an evidence to be generally acceptable, there are several ways it can be proven. One of it is that when you publish it in a peer-reviewed article, so it means that people have generally accepted it, and immediately people begin to cite that work. It means that it has been proven scientifically. So it's a way of synthesizing available evidence on a specific research question. So there must be a research question guiding your systematic literature review. Now, please, I don't want you to mix it together. Now, when you are using a systematic literature review in your thesis writing, okay, you can use the most common type of review in thesis writing is the narrative review, okay, narrative review. But before you can come to the point of using that narrative review, there is a need for you to carry out a systematic literature review of the articles you're going to be using, because doing that will make it easier for you to carry out your narrative review, because of course you know that in your chapter 2 you are discussing a comprehensive review of those studies that have done the same thing as the one that you want to do. So that's what it's all about. So, and you are doing that following the research questions that are guiding your study. So, and that's the same thing you do in a systematic literature review. There must be research question that guides the design, the protocol you're following. So, and it must be explicit. So there must be an explicit and pre-specified criteria. When we talk about criteria, there are certain criteria that you must follow whenever you are doing a systematic literature review. And that's why we said it is replicable. That's what makes it replicable. So we said rigorous. Rigorous means that it follows a strict, predefined protocol to minimize bias. The reason why it need to follow that is so that there can be bias minimization, and it must ensure scientific validity. Then it must be transparent, which means that every step is documented and reproducible, from search strategy to inclusion and decisions. So everything that you are doing must be documented. Everything you are doing must be documented, so that when other researchers pick up the paper and they want to, replicate your study, make it easier for them. Then, I've explained this. Replicable means that another researcher is using the same protocol and should arrive at the same conclusion. So if they are not able to arrive at the same conclusion by using the same protocol that you've used, then what you've done is not a systematic literature review. Maybe you've used AI to put papers together and, call it a systematic literature review. All right. So a quick one, what are the features of systematic literature review? So let's quickly compare and contrast systematic and narrative review. When it comes to research question, systematic review is clearly defined and specific. The research question of systematic review is clearly defined and specific. There is usually a specific question you are pointing your review towards. But when it comes to narrative review, it's not like that. It is broad or exploratory, like you are discussing it in general, like the review is in general, not based on a specific research question, right? Then when it comes to search strategy, systematic review is explicit, comprehensive, and reproducible. But for the narrative review, it is not like that. It is informal and it is not documented. When you want to carry out your narrative review, I believe that many of us did a master's dissertation. And when we're writing the review of the paper, I don't think there's any form of documentation as to maybe you documented the year range in which you search for your papers, the inclusion criteria. Okay, what are the kind of paper that you included? I'm very sure that if you read through your master's dissertation now, you realize that most of the paper that you use, you will see unpublished doctoral article there. You would see reports there. You would see book review. You would see book chapter. You would see non-peer reviewed articles. You would see there's something we call I've forgotten the name. Okay, you would see all manner of articles in that. So that's for narrative review. For systematic review, it's not like that. There's usually a defined search strategy. There's a search strategy that you use. And there's also inclusion criteria, inclusion and exclusion criteria. Okay, let me show, because I always like to go practical. I'm going to show you a particular review paper that I have here, so that you can see the applicability of what I'm saying. Okay, so this paper is a systematic review, and I believe you can see my screen, right? Is it large enough? Just give me a thumb up if you cannot unmute yourself. A thumb up will do, so that I will be sure that we are following. I need to be sure that.
Yes, sir. We can see everything.
Okay, good. So this is a systematic review article, okay? And when you look at it, you realize that it has all the features of an empirical article, like introduction is there. You have the literature review. Um, you have the method section. That's the method section here. The method is there. Now, when I was talking about inclusion and exclusion criteria the other time, let me go back to the slide. I said that for systematic literature review, there is a pre-specified inclusion and exclusion criteria. Okay, but for narrative review, is based on your discretion. You just pick it randomly that, okay, I think this fits into what I'm explaining. I think this fits in. But for SLR, is not like that. Like when you come to that paper, you realize that there are some things that has been specified. So the review focuses on peer-reviewed articles between 2017 and 2025. Now, if you want to carry out narrative review, you may not focus on a particular year. You may just pick the year randomly. Okay, that's for narrative, right? Even though right now, one of the things that researchers are so much particular about is the recency of the years that you are citing. Like they always want it between, let's say, 5 to 7 years. When it's more than 7 years, they feel like there has been new knowledge, there has been new idea that has been proven. So you don't need to be citing years that have work that has been done in the past. Okay, except for for some cases, maybe when you are carrying out a study that has limited research paper that has been published in that area. So for this SLR, you see the paper is between 2017 and 2025. So with this now, I don't expect that in this review, I don't expect to see any interpretation of a paper that is not within this range. If it is not within this range, that means I didn't follow what is stated here. So these are the inclusion criteria. The inclusion criteria, number one, the studies that explicitly address 21st century skills or instructional strategies in science education. That's one inclusion criteria. The another thing is that research that evaluates and evaluate the impact of these skills on strategies or strategies on student outcome, blah, blah, blah. So those are the. Now, look at the exclusion criteria. studies unrelated to science education are excluded. If you are doing a narrative review, you may bring in studies that are not related to the topic, as long as it's able to back up the point you are trying to explain, right? Then opinion pieces. What do you mean by opinion? Opinion paper is just like a conceptual, we have opinion paper, like you are trying to put forward your opinion about a particular subject of discourse. That's opinion paper. Okay, then editorials are, when journals publish a particular issue, there's something we call editorial. It's just like a brief overview of the articles that are in that particular volume. Maybe let's say there are 10 articles in that particular volume. So the editorial will summarize the whole thing about the focus of the issue. That's the editorials. Then for conceptual paper, this conceptual paper, we also call it theoretical paper. Just like, you are trying to conceptualize what has been done on a particular subject matter as well. Okay, so those ones are excluded here. Then research that is focused on non-academic or non-educational context are removed. Then non-English paper. So which means that any paper not written in English will be excluded from the review. Conference proceedings are excluded. And book reviews, chapters are excluded. Then review articles are excluded. Paper that are not indexed in Scopus are also excluded. And this is to ensure that there is relevance and credibility in the systematic review. So these are just the inclusion and exclusion criteria, right? Then another thing about the systematic review is that it has a formal quality appraiser tools. So when you are doing this, there must be a formal quality appraiser. Quality appraiser is just to test the quality of the papers that you want to review. That's it. But in narrative review, you can really see a researcher that will be using a quality appraiser tool to check, to appraise the paper they want to review. Then the synthesis method is that for systematic review, it is structured. It is either a narrative or meta-analysis. Okay, narrative or meta-analysis. Then for narrative review, it is discursive and flexible, so it doesn't need to be structured. And reproducibility, you can reproduce systematic review that is carried out. Like this paper I'm showing you now, you can pick it up and say you want to reproduce it, and you should be able to get the same result. That's for a systematic review. And when it comes to a narrative review, it's not like that. It is low and subjective. And for systematic review, there's something we call protocol registration. This is the first thing you do whenever you want to carry out systematic review. Before I knew this, I've already published like 3 systematic review articles. That's so surprising. Yeah. Although it's not compulsory, but if you want to publish your systematic review in serious outlet like Q1 and Q2, the editors are always concerned about the protocol registration, because the protocol is what is going to guide you. What you've stated in the protocol must be something that you follow throughout the review process. So it is very important. And we have websites like the Prospero Open Science Framework, and the like. Okay, so this Prospero, okay, I'm still going to explain it in the slide. Okay, I just want to run through the slide so that we can go to the practical aspect of it. Then why do you need to register your protocol? Why do you need to register your protocol? Registering your review protocol before you start prevents outcome reporting bias. So in order to avoid reporting bias, and it also had credibility and signals scientific rigor to journals and reviewers. So the journals and reviewer will see that there's credibility with your study since you registered the protocol, because the protocol that you've registered is what you are expected to follow. Yes. That's what you're expected to follow. So the common, these 2 are the common protocol registration for systematic review. The Open Science Framework, which is called OSF, or the Prospero. So this Prospero, I will not emphasize much on this because it is mostly used in Earth-related systematic review. When you want to carry out a systematic review in the Earth field, so you can use that. And it is managed by the Center for Review and Dissemination at the UK. So, and one thing about it is that it's internationally recognized, and Earth journals use it mostly. That's for the Prospero and the likes. Then for this open science framework, it's what I recommend because it has a broader scope. Number one, it is free open access. Yes, free open access by Center for Open Science. So the research body in charge of it is Center for Open Science. So it is free and it supports all the review types. Either you are doing is an SLR, systematic literature review, a scoping review, a meta-analysis, or a rapid uh paper. So you can also host your full protocol in their website, like the data, the analysis, the script, and the output. In fact, you can host your data, even if you're not carrying out systematic review, the data of your paper, of your study. Like maybe you did a study now, you want to host the data because there are some journals that require that you must host your data online so that um, authors can, so that readers and authors can have access to it anytime. And they can be able to make use of the data to carry out further studies. So you can do this using the Open Science Framework. Then it provides a citable DOI for your registered protocol. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Yes, it provides citable DOI. So that DOI, people can easily cite it because if there is DOI there, it means that automatically once DOI is assigned to it, it's going to reflect on your Google Scholar profile, right? And if uh, someone is doing a work relating to what you've done before, they can easily cite that same protocol, cite that they are following the same protocol that has been, set by so and so person. Okay. Then it allows collaboration and version control across teams. So what do we mean by collaboration? Like when you register and you put someone's name under it, the person, like maybe you want to carry out a systematic review of which it is expected that a single person cannot carry out a systematic review successfully because there is need for two or three researchers, and this is the reason because in order to avoid bias, because when you are selecting studies, okay, you have inclusion and exclusion criteria. There are sometimes that when you check your inclusion and exclusion criteria, you will be at the edge of deciding whether to include a paper or not, an article or not. At that point in time, you can discuss with the other author that you are writing the paper together. And if you are unable to, to agree on it, then you can bring in the third reviewer that will help you to check based on the inclusion and exclusion criteria, and you'll be able to make a very reasonable decision. So then it has a pre-registration timestamp. So before pre-registration timestamps your protocol before literature search. So to do this, to use the Open Science Framework, I'm going to send the link to the chat later. You have to register first. Then after registering, then you can, after opening an account in which you can do with your HOSID ID, then you can go ahead and register your protocol. So we have other platforms apart from this Open Science Framework and Prospero. We have Campbell Collaboration. This one is mostly used in social sciences. Okay, for those in social sciences, it's mostly used there. Then we have Cochrane, which is for clinical. Yeah, those in the clinical field, they can use that. Then we have research registry for clinical trials as well. So I don't know if you've heard of clinical trials before. It's for those in medical field. All right. So that's the function of the research protocol. Don't forget that the first thing you do is to register your protocol. Very, very important. So how do you use the Open Science Framework? Okay, let's look at how we can use the Open Science Framework now. So I'm going to go to my browser now. I'm just going to search for Open Science Framework. Open Science Framework. If you're on the laptop and if you join on the laptop, you can just follow me. You can try it out. The meeting is recorded, so when the video is ready, it's going to be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So
Tó ti nà ó dọ̀tí. Show mi ló lọ fi nà ni.
Open Science
Show mi ni
Framework.
kó lọ fa.
Mr. Ryan, please help me to
Ṣó ti nà?
mute those that are distracting the. So this is it. So I will send the link to the chat now for everyone. You can keep the link somewhere or bookmark it so that anytime you need it, you can access it. So the link has been sent to the chat. So when you open it like this, you sign up. That's the first thing you do. But I'm not going to sign up again because I've signed up. So if you have an OSID ID, okay, you can sign in with your OSID ID. However, there are some institutions that have partnered with Open Science Framework. So if you belong to any of those institutions, then you can sign up through your institution, which means that there are other benefits that you can have by signing in through your institution. But I doubt if any institution in Nigeria, partnered with OSF. So if you have your OSID account, if you don't have an OSID ID, OSID account as a researcher, please go and open that. To register an OSID, just go to osid.org. So I'm sending a chat now, the link on the chat now, osid.org. Then you register your OSID. So the function of the OSID is that it gives you it gives your paper unique identity. Like if you publish different papers, Google Scholar will not attribute your paper to another person. So when it's looked through your linked OSID ID, it will be able to, link any paper you publish using the OSID. That's the function. So you sign up with your OSID. When you click sign up with OSID, it's going to ask you to log in. You sign in, sign up. After signing up, then you can just follow the instruction, the process there, you will get that. Okay. So I've already registered. I've registered. So what I'm just going to do is that I'm going to sign in. And when I'm signing in, I'm going to be signing in with my OSID. So I want to sign in with OSID. So it's going to take me to my OSID. Then I will log in. I don't know, my internet is slow this evening. All right, as you can see, I'm already on the page, okay? So when you look at this, you will see some tab on the left side here. You have home, search OSF. Maybe you have a project that you've done there before, and you have a lot of projects. You don't want to be scrolling up and down. Just search for it. You'll sit there. You have your project, your registration. Under this, your project, you can upload a full project there. Yes, and the project will be assigned a DOI. But before you do that, you need to be sure if your institution is not, if your institution permits that, because there are some institutions that they archive every doctoral thesis on their university e-library. So you need to confirm that before you do anything. But for this registration, the registration is, for the system. Maybe you carry out a systematic review article and you want to register the protocol before you start. That's when you use the registration. Then this preprint, oh, that's the word I forgot the other time. Preprint. Does anyone knows the meaning of preprint? Anyone here that can explain to us what the preprint is? If you want to explain, just raise up your hand and I will call you. You can raise your hand and I will call you. Anyone who want to explain what a preprint is to us here? So nobody knows what a preprint is. Hello, scholars in the house. I believe I'm not talking to myself. I know people are in the house. People are in the
We
house.
are yet to learn
Hello,
about it.
hello.
Mrs.
Is
Badmus.
up, sir.
I don't have the idea.
Hello.
Mrs. Badmus, yes. Mrs. Badmus, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Tosi. Please hold
Hello,
on.
sir.
Yes, please hold on, sir. Yes, sir. Mrs. Badmus, you can go ahead and talk, please.
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
I believe this is like a draft of your work, the preprint.
Is what?
Like a draft, like what you are able to come up with your first draft
Preprint
before
is
the
not,
final work.
preprint is not a draft. I would accept that partially, but it's not a draft. Okay, Mr. Tosi, you were saying hello, sir. Did you want to bail us out? Do you want to bail us out? Someone said hello, sir. I don't know. I don't know the person. Please, if you are the person that said hello, sir, kindly talk, please. Hello, Mr. Tosin. Are you the one? I believe it's Mr. Tosin because I know his voice very well. I'm familiar with that voice. Okay, I think his internet has logged him out of the Zoom. All right. Any other person? Preprint. Oh my God. Okay, let me quickly explain to us. A preprint.
I was trying to say something. My
Okay, sir.
network kicked me
Okay, sir.
out.
Okay, sir.
I'm just I'm just taking a guess. I don't want to use the English word preprint to reprint. Preprint, I think, is it a paper that has been shared before it has been previewed or peer reviewed?
Exactly. Wow, that's great. Thank you for that, sir. Wow. Nice one. Nice one. Yeah. Preprint is a paper that has been shared ahead before the peer review. Okay. Now you do this in two ways. There's one reason most researcher does this. You know, it is possible that you're submitting your paper to all these reputable publishers like Springer, like Taylor and Francis, which takes time. Like it will take a year or 2 years at times before they can publish your paper. And maybe the result of that particular study is something that is urgent, that need to be disseminated earlier. Okay. Now, when you submit the paper, um publishers like Springer Nature, they've partnered with some preprint platform like Research Square. OSF is also Springer partners with Research Square. So when you deposit, immediately you submit that paper to a particular journal under Springer Nature, it's going to ask you, do you, if you want to submit your paper, register your paper as a preprint. When you register the paper as a preprint, it's going to be it's going to be reviewed by the Research Square team, and they will assign a DOI to it. If they are satisfied with it, they will assign a DOI to it. So that DOI will make people to have early access to the result of that particular article, and they can cite it. Once the DOI is assigned to it, it's going to reflect on your Google Scholar, and people can begin to cite the work. Okay, let me give you an example. I have an example here, so that I don't talk. I don't just talk. I'm not just talking without evidence. So I have one here because there's a paper here that the paper should have been accepted by now, but I can't say really accepted, but okay, Research Square. I should go to Research Square, not this place. You disseminate your research early. Then another advantage of this is that as Nigerian authors, if you want to publish in reputable journals like Springer, I'm very sure that except if you have a funding source, you can't say that you'll be able to pay an article processing charge of about 2,000 US dollar. Is there anyone here that can pay that article processing charge to make your paper open access? Anyone here, if you can pay it, can you raise up your hand? Maybe I'll partner with you so that we can publish a paper together. Hello? I don't know. I'm not talking about if you have access to funding, like not external funding, like personally yourself. You can publish a paper with about 2,000 US dollar open access. APC charge. So no one, right? So in that case, if you choose to publish your paper open select, I've explained to us what open select option is. Open select is that there will be a kind of embargo of like maybe 2 years. It depends on the journal. It can be 18 months, it can be 2 years on your paper before you can deposit it on on databases like Academia or ResearchGate, so that the publisher can make their money since you are not paying for the article processing charge. So they will put that embargo on the paper for that period of time. So if you've deposited your paper as a preprint, people will be able to read the preprint. And if they are interested in the full article that has been published, the preprint platform will link them to that full article and they can pay for it and download it. So that's the function. So this is a paper here that has been submitted. This particular paper here, this one here, okay? I submitted it to Springer Nature last year, and the first review round, I didn't register for register the article as a preprint, the manuscript as a reprint. The second one, I didn't. So the third review, that was when, after revising it, I registered it for, we registered it, hi, I'm a co-author, we decided to register it for a preprint. And as you can see, this is it. It says that, as you can see here, this is a preprint. It has not been peer reviewed by a journal, right? And you would see the version, the journals, what's it called? The process of the peer review, editor assigned this, blah, 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 there. So this is the DOI of the paper here. Now, when you go to my Google Scholar profile, you're going to see that there. That particular paper is there. So if anyone wants to access it earlier, before it is accepted for publication, they can quickly go to access it. That's the paper here. Systematic review of something, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is it here. There's the paper here. So it is on my Google Scholar. So if anyone pick this now and cite it, it's going to reflect on my Google Scholar. So it's an early access. It gives people early access to the results of your paper, like Mr. Adebomenya has said. So this is open source. So I told you that you can deposit your preprint, the preprint of your paper there. And you can do your registry and the like. So let's go back to this slide quickly. So the first thing you do is that sorry, please. You create an account, then you create a project. After creating an account, you create a project. You start a new project, name it. Okay, so let's do something here. So you can come here, then you click on projects, my project. This is my project here at the right side, left side here. Can you see it here? My project here. Then you click on create projects. Okay, let's say the project is, let me title it YRA SLR, SLR projects, SLR seminar. Don't want to use the word project. So you can add a brief description of that particular project. Then you click create projects. So you click on create project. So it says new project created successfully. Then you click on go to my projects. So this is it. As you can see there. So it's going to load it up. And this is the project here, right? This is the project here. So you can go back to my projects. Okay, my OSF, my project. Then this is it here, right here, okay? So you can open it. So you can decide to make it private, because if you don't make it private, people will be able to see it since you are not through with it. So I can click make it private here. Okay, so when I'm done with everything I want to do, I can then make it public so that everyone will be able to access it. So I've been able to make it private like this. And this is it here, right? This is it here. Okay, so after doing that, what's the next thing to do? So you can say you draft your protocol. Yeah. Include your research question, your objective, your search strategy, your databases, and every other thing. Okay. Then upload supporting files. Upload your Prospero form, Prisma checklist, data extraction templates, and search string. So everything that you are using for your systematic review, like your data extraction template, your search string, your Prisma checklist, everything can be uploaded. So and if you don't want to upload it, you can follow, you can equally enter it manually here. Okay. So you have the metadata here. Metadata is maybe you and your co-authors, you have just more than one person, okay, that work on the project. You can enter the details and every other information. If there's any funding source, institution of affiliation, and every other thing there, you enter it. Then if you have any file that you need to upload that you use for your systematic review, you can add those files here. And you can as well add it as, you can upload the file as documents, either PDF or Word document. Then you go to registration. This is where you register. Okay, so when you go to registration, you click add registration. Add registration. Now, before you begin this process, there are some background work that you need to do. We are going to come back to this. So we are going to hold on here. We're going to come back to this later, but I want to hold on here because there are some things we need to do. We need to get put together before you can start. We can start filling in what we need to fill here. So then, after doing everything, please do not generate or register it until you are through. Because once you register it directly, it will be assigned a DOI and you cannot edit it. Make sure you finish your editing before you click on the final registration. If not, you won't be able to edit it again. So that's one thing about the Open Science Framework. Any questions so far? Questions? Questions, questions, questions. If you have a question and you don't want to talk, you can type it in the chat or you raise your hand hence to ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Mr. Tosin. Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, sorry. I want to ask what if I have finished a particular paper?
Okay.
Can I then upload it here?
Yes, of
You know?
course. You can upload it and register the protocol there. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the another thing is, since you said, like if it's going to be a preprint,
Preprint. Yeah.
yes, that has not been peer reviewed, and I sent it there, I registered it, and everybody's seen it. What if eventually
They
the
flag it as
peer
plagiarism,
reviewed it?
right?
Yes.
It's not possible. They will
So,
not flag it because when you are submitting, you report it in your cover letter to the editor, okay, that the paper has been submitted as a preprint, then you had the DOI of that preprint to the cover letter you're sending to the editor. So there's no way.
okay.
Yeah, they will see it there. But one thing is that there are some journals that use double-blinded peer review process. Those journals, they don't really advise, they will tell you that if you submitted your paper as a preprint, it may reveal your identity to the reviewer. Because double-blinded is that the author does not know the reviewer and the reviewer does not know the author. So if you are submitting your paper as a preprint, you should have it in mind that your identity may be revealed to the review of the paper. So that's just the thing about it. All right, any other question? Questions, scholars, questions. Okay, I assume that there is no further question. Okay, so I'll just proceed. I'm just going to proceed. Mr. Rahim, your audio is not connected. I don't know, maybe it's your device or your internet. So there's another thing that you need to know when you are writing this, you want to write a systematic review, literature review, you need to know about the PRISMA framework. PRISMA is the short form of Preferred Reporting Items for Systematic Reviews and Meta-Analysis. So this PRISMA is used whenever you want to carry out a systematic review and a meta-analysis. Does anyone knows the difference between a systematic review and a meta-analysis? Please, I want someone to explain to us the difference between the two. I've explained this in one of our seminars before. There's a difference between a systematic review and a meta-analysis. I'll be disappointed if no one is able to explain this to me, because I think we use our first seminar was on all these type of paper, meta-analysis, systematic review, and likes. So, and I emphasize on it. Anyone, the difference between a systematic review and a meta-analysis? We won't go here until someone says something. Hello? Scholars, Mr. Rahim, Mr. Adams. Okay, don't let me call those that have just joined for the first time. Mr. Rahim, Mrs. Fatima, Miss Fatima, Mrs. Badmos, Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Tijani. Yes, those are the people that have joined before. Mr. Nureddin, yeah, you've joined our seminars before. Mr. Oluwatosi, I've called names. Oh my God. So no one want to explain this to us. Okay.
Um, Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
And a systematic review is I think that is method of collecting and when try to analyze the study that you want to use for the work. Maybe basically on the research question that one want to use.
Okay.
That's what the systematic review is all about. But when it comes to meta-analysis, I think that one is statistical part of it. So any statistical part of it that one want to use, maybe to combine the
Yeah.
numerical data from the
Yes,
multiple
exactly.
studies.
Exactly. You've justified it. Yes. So a systematic review is a method that is used to find, select, and summarize existing studies on a question. So when you want to, you want to summarize, you want to select and summarize an existing study on a particular question. That is systematic review. Then for meta-analysis, it is a statistical technique used within some systematic review. So meta-analysis can also be used in a systematic review. And there are some papers that only focuses on meta-analysis. So those papers, what they do is that they gather quantitative data from different studies, like the result of different studies, quantitative result of different studies, compare them together and use it to, to put forward a particular, they combine them together to do a systematic review, which means that they will use it to answer some questions as well. But one thing is that the difference is that systematic review does not necessarily need to involve quantitative data, but meta-analysis must involve quantitative data, like the data, quantitative data from different studies that you're using. Is that clear enough, everyone? Hello, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, it is.
So this Prisma preferred reporting items for systematic review and meta-analysis is what you used in, uh, it is an evidence-based minimum set of items for reporting a system. It provides a flow diagram. So it shows a flow diagrams and 27 item checklist to ensure transparent, complete, and reproducible reporting. Yes, systematic review. That's what you use it for, the Prisma rather. Okay. And I think I'm going to share the document for the Prisma with us, and also the what's it called? The link to the website where you can download it. Oh, really? For some reasons, I don't know why. I can't share documents. Oh my God. From my computer. Okay. I don't know why. So let me go to the website then and share the website with us. And I think I bookmarked this thing. Okay. So this is it. As you can see, it says that Prisma flow diagram. This is it. So it depends. It has different types. Prisma flow diagram, new systematic review, which included search strategies, databases, and registers only. So if your searches include databases and registers only, then you can download this one. If your search include databases, registers, and other sources, you can download this one. If your search include databases and registers only, then you download this one. Then we have other ones as well. Okay, this one combines databases, registers, and other sources. So I'm just going to download the first one. So you can download any one of it. So let me copy it and send it to the charts. That's a link to download the Prisma flowchart. So I'm going to open it and use it to explain some things to us. Or instead of opening it, let me just open this paper. So this is a Prisma flowchart here. There's the Prisma flowchart here, as you can see here. So when you scan through this now, you can be able to tell what are the things that were used for the review. identification of studies via databases. Okay, so Prisma has 4 stages. Is it 4? Yes, it has 4 stages: identification, screening, eligibility, and inclusion. Prisma has 4 stages: identification, screening, eligibility, and inclusion. Those are the 4 stages in Prisma. The first stage, identification, this is where you search for papers you want to use, general search, based on the keywords that you've written. Okay, so record via databases. Let's say, for instance, you are using 3 databases. Let's say you are using Google Scholar, Web of Science, and Scopus. If you are using Google Scholar, Web of Science, and Scopus, so if you search papers on Google Scholar, when you search the paper, what is the amount of paper that shows when you are searching it? Okay, let me give an instance. Let's take, for instance, that one of the keywords that I want to use for searching the paper is, let's say one of the keywords I want to use to search for the paper. I'm going here. Okay, did we even put keywords here? Okay, these are keywords here. Okay, so this is the keyword. There's a keyword. Go to that place, then I paste the keyword, okay? The search string, then click on search. Okay. Right? So when I click on search, don't forget that one of the criteria that was stated here is that the paper should be between 2017 to 2025, right? Then I'll come here, I'll come to custom range, then click 2017, then to 2025, and I will click search. Okay. I will click search. So when I click search, what I want to do is that, let's take, for instance, when I'm looking through the papers based on that search keyword, okay, let's say I'm picking this, I'm picking this, I'm picking this. Let's say I picked up to, like in each page, when you come up here, you will see something here. I believe everyone is following me. 20 results loaded. Can you see it here, guys? Everyone? 20 results loaded. Then the result in total is about 18,300 results altogether. 18,300 results based on that particular keywords. Then 20 results loaded altogether. So it means that in each page I have 20 results. Let's say I want to click the results up to, like, you don't necessarily need to search through everything because it's going to be stressful. Let's say I want to click up to like page 10. That's 20 times 10. What is 20 times 10 is what? 200, right? Isn't it? So I will now go to I will now go to my Prisma here and say that record identified through database searching. Google Scholar 200. As you can see, what do you see here? 200. Is that taken? Which means that the first 10 pages, which has 2020 articles brought out, were the ones that are included. And as I'm including that, don't forget the tool I'm using to do that. I'm using my Zotero to include them, right? I've taught us on how to use Zotero. Okay, let me quickly re-emphasize that. So let's say I want to create my so I create a folder, SLR. SLR Seminar. Create collection. If I create that, so what I'm going to do is that I'll come here. Then let's say this is the 10th page, right? That's the 10th page. So I'll just come here, click here, this side here. When I click this side here, I will select everything here, select all. Okay, if I click select all and I'll click OK. That's for the 10th page. So I'll click OK. Then it's going to add all the papers to this page. So I'll do that for all the 10 pages. And by the time you come to Scopus, to your Zotero here, when you click that folder, it's going to show you. For instance, if I click this folder now, it's showing me the number of papers here. It says 35 items in this view. So let's assume I've added all those papers to that particular SLR seminar that I created. Then it's going to show me number of items in this view is 200. So I've reported that. Then I'll go to Scopus as well. Let's assume that I want to use just Google Scholar and Scopus. Okay, so I've searched for Google Scholar. Then, I've been able to gather the papers I need. Then I'll go to Scopus. So I bookmark the link for Scopus because I usually look for it up and down. So I just have to bookmark it. Scopus. Okay. So this is the link to Scopus search. I'm going to send a link to the chat now. I believe we are keeping the links that I'm sending to the chat because in case you need it urgently, I may not be having my laptop with me then to send it to you. So it's better you just bookmark those links as I'm sending them. So you come to Science Direct, which is the Scopus here. I want to clear filter before sending the link, but no problem. Once I send you the link, you know what to do. When you want to search, just paste what you want to search here. So I'll send the link to you. Let me see if this is going to work. Okay, this works. Wow. That's linked to Scopus. Okay. So Scopus is not like Google Scholar whereby you copy all the keywords, like all the search string directly, and it's going to work. Okay, let me try that. Let me try to paste the search string I copied the other time. Let me try to paste it here and see if it's going to work. Oh, wow, it works. It's not much. So this is it here, right? I've searched that. Then what did I want to do? I want to ensure that it is between 2017 to 2025. So I'll come here, this 2017 here, check this, 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 up to 2025. In fact, some 2029 paper has even been published. Wow, that's impressive. So one of the inclusion criteria is that some of the papers will be a research article. So I check it as research article here. Then one of the criteria here stated here also is that the paper must be open access. Yeah, inclusion criteria, open access. I think, yeah, something like that is here. Look at it. The articles are published open access and freely accessible to readers from different parts of the world. So I'll go back to my Scopus, then I'll filter open access and open archive. Then I will check this. Open access and open archive, as you can see there, right? So how many results in total do I have? The result in total is 3,711. Can we see that? 3,711. Then I will go to my Scopus and, report that. So as you can see here, it's not up to that because, at that point, when we carry out the study, it was 2024. So you should expect a kind of, different numbers, but just report the number you're getting based on your search. So I will export that. Then I'll come to record removed before screening. So what do you do at this stage? Okay, at this stage, you remove the duplicate items. Yes, you remove duplicate items. I've taught us how you can identify duplicate items, okay? So when you go to your Zotero, you scroll down, you see something like duplicate items there, okay? So any paper that you had that is duplicate based on what you've searched, or even let's take for instance, I have this. I want to do something. Permit me to do this, please. I just have to explain this. These are duplicates. How you can identify them on Zotero, because Zotero is very, very important. You know, reference management to like EndNote, Zotero, and Menly are very important whenever you want to carry out systematic review. Systematic review is not something that maybe you start copying list of references to one document. It's not going to work that way. You need a reference management to manage your reference. So I'll copy this. I want to search this and rehash that particular paper again. So if I readd that particular paper, it's going to duplicate it. I believe we are following. Any questions so far as this is loading so that I can attend to that? Questions?
Anyways, for me, like I always say, you are fast, but when I watch
Please,
the
if I'm fast,
recorded
okay.
version,
If I'm fast, then
for me, I'm not talking for every other person.
Okay.
I want to ask at the end of this, we are still going to have this video, right?
The video is going to be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So when it's ready, I will send a message to the platform.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. These are the things that waste time most times. All these verification, verify if you are human. All right, this is the paper. So what I want to do now is that I want to add this paper again, okay? And I want to show us how you would see the duplicates there. I want to wait for it to load. So by load the timer, it will not work. So I'm going to click here and add. I'm adding to Zotero, right? So this one is open access. The PDF will show. When it's finished loading, it's going to show, it's going to be deeper here. It's not going to fade. Then you can go to the Zotero. Now, immediately I added it, you will realize that this thing has become 2, isn't it? Can we say there? So to confirm if this is a duplicate, when you come to duplicate items, you would see it here. Can you see that? Now, what am I saying in essence? Now, by the time you combine your results for both Scopus and Google Scholar, like this one now, everything in total is 1,058, right? Scopus is 858 and Google Scholar is 200. Let's assume that after doing that, it is possible that a paper that I search on Google Scholar will also be on Scopus, isn't it? It's possible. Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's say 20 papers that I search on Google Scholar are also duplicated on Scopus, right? Everything is going to be added to my Zotero as duplicates, right? So after I've finished merging the duplicates, let me go back to that place. So here now, currently I have 36 items, right? So it means that my total here will be 36. My total here is 36. Let's say my total here is 36. And for Scopus, it is 20. And for Google Scholar, it is 19. Let me write it. So this one is 20. 36 rather. This one is 36. This one is 20. This one is 19. 16. 36, 20, 16. Now, what I want to do is that I want to remove duplicates. I will come here. Then I'll come to Mr. Adams, please hold on. I'll come to duplicate items. Then I'll click on it and I'll click on merge the 2 items. Immediately I merge the 2 items. When I go to my intro and review, it changes to 35. So now record after duplicate has been removed will now change to, okay, now here you will see something like duplicate record removed before screening. The duplicate record removed before screening is 1, just 1. Okay, I've not screened the article. I've not read the article's abstract. That's why I say before screening, okay? So it's 1. Then records after duplicate is removed. Who can tell me the number of papers after duplicate is removed now? We have a total of 36 and we removed 1 duplicate. That will be 35, right? So it's now going to be 35. So I've done the identification stage like that. So Mr. Adams, what's your question, sir?
Sorry, I want to ask him, what exactly is the function of Zotero in this particular context?
The function of Zotero is a reference management tool. You can use it to manage your reference.
Okay, is it just
Please
to get
go and
the
watch.
references?
Yeah, go and watch our previous videos, our previous seminars. You understand better what Zotero can do. But majorly use it to reference. If you are writing your project, it is possible. I don't know if you've encountered such a problem before that. After writing your project, you keep looking for the list of references of the paper you cited. Has it happened to you?
Yes, that's
Aha.
what I'm asking about it.
Yes. Zotero will help you
Have
avoid
it?
that. Zotero will help you avoid that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
It will help you avoid that. So once you organize the paper on Zotero, you can pick the list of, like this paper now, I can generate all the list of reference here. If I Control A, highlight, then I will right click on create bibliography for item, then I'll click on, as you can see, you see copy here. This is APA 7th edition that I want to use, right? This is copy here. Then I'll click OK. So let me quickly open a Word document and paste that. This thing is taking longer. I'm just going to open a Word document and just paste it anywhere. So this is the list of references. I'll just paste it here. As you can see, these are my list of references. I don't need to stress myself. Oh. Can you see it? It has generated it for me in APA format. I just press Ctrl V. Mr. Adams, is that clear now?
Yes, I can see.
Oh, Mr. Unaimeka, please, your question. I don't know if I got the pronunciation of your name. In case I didn't, just correct me. Thank you. Your question, sir, please. You raise your hand.
Yeah, good evening. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, nice to be here. Actually, the correct pronunciation is Nnaemeka. That's
Okay.
God has done it.
Okay, Unaimeka. Okay.
My question, yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. And my question is just straightforward. Sometimes after seeing your data and you now want to access them, some of them will not be open access, especially in Scopus. How
Yes.
do we handle it, especially if they have fallen within the cycle of papers that you are working with?
Even if they are falling within the cycle of
And
the
then,
paper, as long as you've
okay,
stated that the open access paper will be excluded. In fact, it is expected that you exclude papers that are not open access when you are doing systematic review, because there's no way you'll be able to access the quality, the content of that paper if they are not open access. Yes. One of the criteria.
will it not affect the acceptability of that paper in high
It will
impact
affect
journal?
it, but it will not still affect it. The reason is that you are working based on the paper that you are able to, the paper that proceed to the included review. There's something we call inclusion, the last stage. The last stage,
Yes.
like this one now, after everything, only 20 paper met the inclusion and the exclusion criteria. Yeah, if you include, okay, now this paper, before this paper was accepted for publication, we have about, okay, not this one, there's a particular one we published in Q3 on Discover Education. Now, that particular paper, when we reviewed it, it was about, I think, 25. But the reviewer raised a question which made us to, do the analysis again. The reviewer was like, there are some papers that were included that are not open access. How were the authors able to access this paper? And that's a very, very funny something. And it's true. We're not able to access the paper because there were no open access. So we needed to, review that and remove it. And that was why we changed our inclusion criteria to we changed it to include papers that are open access and exclude papers that are not open access. Is that clear now, sir? Mr. God has done it. Because that's your name, the pronunciation. I don't know if there's any other name I can be using. Hello, sir. Have I answered your question, sir? Okay. I don't know if you are still with us, sir. So that's how you do that. But you can, in order to avoid that, you can come to this Scopus. If you come to Scopus, you can select open access and open archive. But if you want to include any paper that is not open access, you must be sure that you'll be able to read. Okay, there's another thing we call paper sort for retrieval. If you want to include a paper that you feel that is really needed, okay, you can sort for the retriever. How do you sort for the retriever? Sorting for retriever will be at this particular stage. Where is the prism myself? It will be at this stage of screening. Okay. It's going to be after this place. It's going to be here, right here, paper sort for retrieval. So when some papers are not open access, you can message the author of the authors of those papers. You can, there's always an email of the corresponding author to request for the paper and tell them your reason for requesting for the full paper. Okay, so they should be able to, at least, if not everything, you'll be able to retrieve some of it. So if you retrieve them, you can include them as well. But if it is not open access, it's not advisable, you proceed with it for systematic review. Any other question? Any other question before we proceed? I believe everyone is with me. Mr. Rai, Mr. Aziz, Mr. Adams, Miss Fatima, Mrs. Badmos, Mr. Tijani.
I'm with you, sir.
Yes,
There's
I'm
no question.
Oh, no question. Okay. So that is how you go about that. I think we've done this identification stage.
Thank you, sir.
Now, the screening stage is where you need to do a lot of work. Because at this screening stage, the first thing you do at the screening stage is that you read the title and the abstracts at the screening stage. The screening stage is divided into two. Number one, reading of the title and the abstract. Then number two, assessing the full text for eligibility. So at the screening stage, what you look out for is that you go to your inclusion and exclusion criteria. You begin to look at it. You create a table for it. Okay, like the table. In the table, you would say, okay, if you are removing any paper, why are you removing it? Maybe it is not open access. Maybe it is not a peer-reviewed paper. Part of the exclusion criteria for this paper is that if a paper is not peer-reviewed, then it's going to be excluded. Maybe the paper is not written in English. The full text is not written in English. You can exclude them. So you begin to list those exclusion criteria there. Okay. I think I have a paper that is still under, okay, that particular paper on Research Square the other time, if I still have it here. So it shows the full details of this thing I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about here. Report access for eligibility, as you can see here. So after reading the title and the abstract, the title, you are just reading the title. If the title, when you read the title, you'll be able to know whether the paper fall within the range of your inclusion and exclusion criteria, then you remove some. So after reading through the title, we excluded 1,299 papers. So meaning we are left with 54 papers. So after that 54, we now assess the 54 for full eligibility. Like, these are the reasons why we excluded 9 papers. 9 papers were excluded. Number one is a non-formal education paper. Like, the paper focuses on, non-formal education, and that's part of the exclusion criteria. Then one of it was an opinion paper not meeting the method criteria. So one of the method criteria is that the paper must be quantitative or empirical. Okay. Then the third one is that one of it is a systematic review and meta-analysis. So systematic review and meta-analysis were excluded from this particular review. Then another thing is that one of it is not peer-reviewed or inaccessible, like peer-reviewed or not peer-reviewed or inaccessible. Like the full text is not readily accessible, and it is not peer-reviewed. Then out of scope. So one of it is not formal education. So, and we excluded that. So after everything, then we have 45 studies left, just 45. And that 45 study is what we now assessed. So to now assess this to review this 45 study now, we have other method, other things that you still need to put into consideration. So I've been able to explain what the Prisma diagram is, like the Prisma flowchart is, and what we use it for. Any question on that? Any question on that? We're still going to have another class on this, whereby we're going to put this into practice very, very well. Yes, Mr. Adams.
I want to ask
Yes, sir.
this during the screening stage. Are we going to read all the articles, the open access articles?
The screening stage, the screening stage. No, at the screening stage, there are two stages.
For the title and the abstract. Are we going to do that for all the articles?
Yes, for all the articles. That's why I said only one person cannot carry out a systematic review. You need at least two.
Okay.
Is that Mr. Adams?
So yes, we're going to read the title and the abstract of all the papers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The title and the abstract of all the papers that you are including. Yes, sir. Don't be afraid of reading them, sir. I've seen a particular whereby they reviewed over 100. Over 100 paper met the inclusion criteria. But the authors were like 6 on the paper. So it's very easy for them. So you have to read it.
Okay.
Then I have another method I can help you with. Okay, that's why we have AI. AI can assist you in reading the inclusion. But when AI does that, you need to scan through it and see to be sure that AI have not removed what AI is not expected to remove. So you can copy the abstract to AI, then copy the inclusion and exclusion criteria, then tell AI to help you, remove those ones that doesn't meet the inclusion and exclusion criteria based on that abstract.
Thank you, sir.
So it's possible you can use abstract to do that. So it will lessen the burden. All right. Any other question? Questions? Okay. So after doing this, the next thing is that you need to know what we call how to source. Okay, how to source and select relevant studies. So to source, when you are doing systematic review, these are the databases you can use to search for papers. Okay. Now, of all these databases, I believe that as Nigerian authors, as a Nigerian author, you can only have access to as far as Google Scholar, ERIC, and Scopus. Every other ones, you need to pay. Or if your institution partners with them. However, the papers that are found in all these PubMed, Web of Science, SyncInfo, and Cochrane Library, they are all found on Google Scholar because they are reputable databases. So any paper you see, they will be found on Google Scholar. So most times, it's usually important that you include Google Scholar as one of your search base. That's number one. Then most times I use Google Scholar and Scopus because I don't have access to Web of Science. And at times I use ERIC. If I'm able
So out of dimensions, sir.
Dimension, yes, but some papers on dimensions are not open access.
Okay.
Yeah, some papers on dimensions are not open access, except you are going to sort it for retrieval from the corresponding authors. You are able to get that, it's fine. So we have a lot of databases. So how do you build your search with Pico? So to build your search, you need the Pico framework. How many of us have heard of Pico framework before? If you want to build your search, you need a Pico framework. Pico is the full meaning for population, intervention, comparator, and outcome. Population, intervention, comparator, and outcome. Population means that who is the target group? Your target group can be secondary school students, secondary school teachers, secondary school administrators. That's your population, target population, okay, target group. Then intervention, what is being done or studied. So if you are talking about student, are you assessing the academic achievements or conceptual understanding of the students? Then what are you comparing it with? Okay, is it compared with the instructional strategy that is being used? So that's the comparator. Then the outcome is what's the result? Like, is it going to improve their their conceptual understanding and academic achievements. So that's what you use the outcome for. So when you do this PICO, for each of the paper that you access, you need to include all this. So you create a table on your Excel, then you include the population, target population for paper one, the intervention used, the comparator, and the outcome. So when you list all these things, then you now compare them with your inclusion and exclusion criteria to see if they are within the range of those things. So when you want to synthesize your findings, so after doing that, the next thing is to synthesize your findings. Okay, but before you synthesize your findings, there's something we call is it mathematical appraisal tool? Yes, I think I have it here. Okay, critical appraisal skill program. So then there's another one, we call it MMAT. I've forgotten the full meaning of that one. Okay, maybe in the next seminar, I will be able to get it ready before then. So this critical appraisal tool is going to help you in appraising whether the papers that you are using are quality enough. Okay, so there's a particular this thing that you can use. The critical appraisal skill program can be used. Let me send the link of that critical appraisal skill program. I think it's in the list of references here. CASP, critical appraisals. Okay, this is it here, right here. So for systematic review. So that has been sent to the chat. You can check that. It's in form of a table whereby you use it to assess the quality of those papers that you are going to be reviewing. And so when you are synthesizing your findings, you can synthesize your findings in three ways. Narrative synthesis. When you are using narrative synthesis, it means that you are describing and comparing findings in text form, organized by themes, like you have themes, study design, or outcome. And this is suitable when the studies are too heterogeneous for statistical polling. So if you are using heterogeneous studies, like different kind of study design, different kind of yes, different kind of instrument were used, different kind of statistical technique were used, so you can use narrative. Then thematic is when you want to identify recurring themes across qualitative studies. Like let's say, okay, paper A, paper B, and paper C, they say the same thing. So you classify them, you put them into team. Then paper D, paper E, and paper F, they say the same thing. You classify them together in team. That's when you use a thematic synthesis. Then for meta-analysis, I told us the other time, you use the data, the qualitative, the statistical data in those papers and use them. So this narrative is best for qualitative, mixed method, or diverse study design. The thematic analysis or thematic synthesis is best for drawing from qualitative or phenomenological studies. And these meta-analysis is best for RCTS and experimental studies with comparable outcomes. And that's on how you can, this is just an introduction on how you can go about the systematic review. And I believe with this, if you watch the video and you try to put things together here, you'll be able to get started. So our next seminar will focus on how we can put this into practice very well. So we are going to be grouping ourselves to carry out some systematic review and probably come up with an article that can be submitted to a very good international journal. So there are some common mistakes you need to avoid when you are carrying out systematic review. Number one, avoid not registering your protocol. It's very important. Starting without pre-registering your protocol can lead to outcome reporting bias. It can lead to bias. Like I said, the first the systematic review articles that I've published now, I didn't register them for protocol. So although there's no bias because the bias were minimized since I was not the only one that carried out the study. So, and if there's any discrepancy, we always discuss it. And so Registration of protocol is very important. Then if your inclusion and exclusion criteria is vague, like it is too big of a grammar, like it's not okay. So you need to make sure that your inclusion and exclusion criteria is direct, clear, and understandable to your reader. So poorly defined criteria can lead to inconsistent screening. So if your inclusion criteria is not well defined, is not clear enough, you can remove important studies from your sentences. So it's very important that they are clear. So define all your criteria in your protocol before the search begins. It's very important. Your inclusion and exclusion criteria should have been ready before your search begins. Then ignoring quality appraisal. I told us the other time, critical appraisal program, MMAT, those are the appraiser tool that you can use. So you include all found studies when you include all the studies you found without assessing their methodological quality, then it's going to undermine the quality or the validity of your conclusion. So it's very important to assess them. So, and this MMAT, I think I need to find it and quickly explain what it means. I need to explain what it means. I think I used that MMAT in this review here. Sorry, please. I just want to use this opportunity to explain this MMAT. Okay, this is MMAT. Each study underwent a systematic quality appraisal using the mixed method appraisal tool. Yeah, I forgot the full meaning the other time. The MMAT is mixed method appraisal tool. So it means that the studies that are used in this study, they have different kinds of method. So in order to have a quality study, and this MMAT was developed by Archibald 2021. And the tool evaluates methodological quality across 5 criteria. So there are 5 criteria. The first thing is that the appropriateness of the sampling strategy. Is a sampling strategy for that paper suitable for the paper? So you assess that. Then adequacy of data collection. Is the data collection adequate, like the procedure in which the authors used to collect the data? Then if it is not adequate, you have the whole right to remove that particular study from your sentences. And that is why it is very important that whenever you are writing any paper, you are publishing any paper, always make sure that all these things are done well. If not, you will just see that you publish a paper and there's no one is citing it. So one thing about me is that if I want to cite a paper, if I want to read a paper, what I do is that I will scan through the abstract, then I'll go to the method section. If they are not interesting, I will ignore the paper. That's one thing I do. Because if you cannot use a good method, your results cannot be reliable. It's not possible. The result of your study. So you assess the quality of the adequacy of the data, then coherence between the research question and the findings. So the author, is the results they presented correlating or answering their research questions? If it's not answering their research question, then that paper is low in quality. So you can classify the paper as low or high. Low or high. So you use that. Then integration of qualitative and quantitative components where applicable. Like this paper now uses both qualitative and quantitative components. So any paper that use qualitative and quantitative or either of the two can be included. Then the transparency of data interpretation, where the data interpreted the way it is. Is there no overstated conclusion? Because there are some papers that the conclusion will be overstated. It's going to be more than the results presented. So that's why you need to use the appraisal tool for your for your paper. Then some people, another mistake is that when you do not screen your duplicates, you need to remove your duplicates. And the last mistake is that some people don't use Prisma. I've seen some reviews like that doesn't use a Prisma, which is very important for reporting in your systematic review. And at this point, I would say thank you all for listening, and I would want to entertain questions or any other thing you would like to ask or clarify before we end the training for today. We're going to be having another seminar next week, eventually, probably on Friday as well, to practicalize all those things.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bamidele. Thank you for always.
Yes.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a question on the chat by okay, the question says that what underlies the inclusion and exclusion criteria? Purpose of the study. Is the purpose of the study? The inclusion and exclusion criteria can be determined by the research question you want to answer. Yes, the research question you want to answer. For instance, now if you want to carry out a study that is based on post-COVID-19 experience, right? Post-COVID, post-COVID is after COVID. So one of your inclusion criteria that is very important is that the paper must be after 2020. I think COVID was 2019 and 2020, right? So if you're including a paper that is before 2019, then that paper will not have credibility, because I can imagine that you are carrying out a study on post-COVID-19 experience and you are including 2018 paper in your review, then that is wrong. Of course, you can use that when you are doing your introduction or probably your literature review, but for the sentences, your included paper should not be in that area. Have I answered your question, sir? You can use the chat if I've answered your question, sir. Any other question from